Good evening. My name is Sari Sheinfeld, and I am a Holocaust educator. Well, let me rewind for a moment. I am the grandchild of 3 Holocaust survivors. I spent my childhood growing up among the survivor community in New York City, where the lunch lady in the cafeteria, the man who ran the ditto machine in the school office, and the woman who worked the register in the local bakery all had an inked set of letters and numbers on their forearms. I grew up being able to identify the heavily accented English of the neighborhood grandparents as they greeted us warmly when we walked home from the school bus. Across the street it was Romanian, around the corner it was Hungarian, next door it was Russian, and in our house it was Polish. I grew up spending my summers in the survivor bungalow colonies of the Borscht Belt, where I learned that the carp in the bathtub is in fact real, and the neighborly banter was always in Yiddish. I had a beautiful and loving childhood, but I also grew up steeped in the acute reality of the trauma. The hushed conversations around a card table, which usually ended in silent head shaking and tear-stained cheeks. My grandmother's onset of a migraine when we learned something about the Holocaust in school and came home to ask her about it. The raw and graphic photos taken by the liberators of the Nazi concentration camps that were in our history textbooks. It was the reality that we faced every day. I have a clear memory of sitting in the audience at one of my sister's school performances where my mother looked around the room and noted, to seemingly no one in particular, "Wow, look at how many grandparents are here. It's so wonderful that these children have grandparents." Holocaust education was something we lived. When I chose a career path in education, I chose math. It felt safe from trauma, graphic imagery, and above all else, did not exceed my moral comprehension. Being in the classroom is incredibly fulfilling. As my family grew and I found myself naming my children for those survivor grandparents, the reality of the shifting tectonic plates of Holocaust history began to come into focus for me. This was not their story, this was my story. When the world began shuttering in early 2020, I knew the time had come to switch paths. I stepped away from a job I loved and made the decision to dedicate myself to Holocaust education. Between sessions of doom scrolling, I began researching the opportunities available to pursue a degree in Holocaust and Genocide studies. I hit the proverbial pavement and began researching different degrees and institutions, and because of the global pivot to the Zoom classroom, was able to sit in on classes, but none felt right. I wanted to learn about the Holocaust at an academic level, but from the Jewish perspective. I needed the study of this watershed event in human history to be steeped in Jewish history and culture and not drifting away from it. So I continued my search. It was the spring of 2020, and as I continued to teach systems of equations and rational numbers on Zoom, I realized that if I was willing and able to adjust my time schedule, I could reach out to graduate centers in Israel. And down that rabbit hole I went. That summer, as my inbox began to fill with correspondences from Israeli programs, an email from Yeshiva University caught my eye. And the next 8 emails in my inbox from friends, relatives, and colleagues were forwards of the first email. In a neatly packed box, wrapped in a bow, it had arrived. Yeshiva University was launching an MA in Holocaust and Genocide Studies. On August 9th, 2020, I penned the following email. "Hi. My name is Sari Sheinfeld, and I'm a Stern College alum. I'm a middle school math teacher in New Jersey and would like to pivot and pursue a degree in Holocaust and Genocide Studies. I was hoping you might be able to help me gather some more information regarding the YU program, such as course descriptions, tuition, seminars, internship availability, and capstone thesis information. Best, Sari." The flurry of emails that follow involved messages such as, "Well, we were supposed to have our accreditation by now, but with all of the shutdowns in Albany," or "We'll start with 2 class offerings, both are requirements though." YU magically resuscitated my undergraduate email address, and on August 24th, 2020, I became the second of 6 students at the newly minted Emil A. and Jenny Fish Center for Holocaust and Genocide Studies. Through the generosity of Mr. Fish and his family, and the leadership of President Rabbi Dr. Ari Berman and Provost Dr. Selma Botman, the seedling for the center was planted, and Dr. Shai Pilnick was hired to take the helm. What began as a vision for Mr. Fish soon blossomed into a flourishing global community of Holocaust educators and scholars from across a broad spectrum of practices. This ex nihilo center soon became more than a collection of Wall Street executives, physicians, teachers, and attorneys showing up as 1-inch squares on a screen. We became a thriving and pulsing community committed to learning and teaching the history and lessons of the Holocaust during these critical times and at this historical moment. The learning takes place both via synchronous Zoom classes as well as in-person summer studies abroad. For many of us who participated in the 2023 Summer Study Abroad, together with Mr. Fish, we visited the synagogue in which he celebrated his bar mitzvah after his liberation from Bergen-Belsen in his hometown of Bardejov, Slovakia, an experience we never could have imagined. We are here to celebrate that in 6 short years, under the tireless and inspiring leadership of Dr. Shai Pilnik and his team, fueled by the passion of the student body, the Fish Center has 62 current MA students and 23 alumni. Additionally, through the generosity of the Jack and Rose Breitkopf Fund, the center has launched an advanced certificate program for public school teachers, which has 37 current students and 7 alumni. It is truly a dream come true. We would like to personally thank Mr. Emil Fish and his wife Esther for his vision, generosity, and unwavering support.